Let's talk more about those channel migrants with Harjap Singh Bhangal, a UK immigration lawyer. Good morning to you, Harjap.
Good morning, Julia.
I'm wondering if I can ever foresee a time when I'm not hosting this show and I'm not talking to Harjap Singh Bhangal about whether or not the latest measure from the government is going to make any difference whatsoever to the problem we've got with these thousands, tens of thousands of channel migrants coming across the water. Harjap, let's just go through the details of this, just discussing them with James. It's going to be, no appeal unless you're an unaccompanied child or gravely ill. You will be instantly taken into detention if you arrive by small boat. The government is not allowing you to go into a hotel. 2 former RAF bases in Lincolnshire and Essex, we understand, are going to be purchased to house thousands of people. There will be a legal duty for the Home Secretary to remove these channel migrants. If they arrive by boat, that's it. If you arrive by boat, automatically you will have a legal duty to be removed within a short period of time. We're looking at weeks rather than months or years, and that very simply, you will not be allowed to ever claim asylum in this country if you've ever come in by that route. First of all, do you think this law will actually get through the legal routes, the legal challenges, whether internationally or in London or in British courts?
It's a very risky play. I don't think you can ban anybody from claiming asylum. That goes against all the conventions you've signed. And indeed, already we've got contradictory language. So we're going to ban people from claiming asylum, yet we're going to detain them while their claim is processed. So either you're going to accept that claim and process it, or you're going to ban people and say you can't claim asylum. That in itself is a contradiction.
No, but isn't the process? The process is, are you claiming asylum? Right, but did you come in by a channel dinghy? Yeah, well then you can't claim because the law now says you can't do that.
But then who are we going to detain? Because if 50,000 people are coming by small boats, are we going to turn them around? Where are we going to send them? We don't have return agreements. We have return agreements with 6 to 7 countries. We've had 6 years since Brexit to negotiate return agreements. France, Belgium, Spain, Denmark, Sweden have blatantly said to our face, we're not signing any return agreements. Yeah. You can't send them back here. We can't send them back to the country they've come from unless we've decided their claim. And in the meantime, we're going to detain them. Up to 50,000 people we're going to detain?
No, that's the thing. I don't know how big those RAF bases are they're planning to buy. I'm not sure they're that big. We're currently seeing our taxpayers' money spending the best part of £3 billion on hotels, 2, 3, 4, even 4-star hotels around the country being booked by the Home Office to pay for their accommodation and looking for months, possibly years on end. Asylum seekers not being allowed to work. But isn't part of the argument here that it won't be 45,000 as we've had in the last year? It won't be the 100,000 the worst predictions are saying for this year, because if you know you're not living in a hotel and able to go and work in the black market, you're going to probably, as is currently at the time that the state of affairs, probably get asylum and therefore be able to stay here legally. If you are going to be put in basically what to all intents and purposes is a prison camp, and then you're going to be deported in a few weeks' time, people just simply won't come. It's the deterrence effect. So yes, there will be people this has to happen to, but the idea presumably is that as soon as you see pictures of this footage of these camps, as soon as people know that they're being deported, you see those plane loads go off. People have got smartphones on those beaches in Calais. Why are you spending £5,000 paying a people smuggler to get you on a dinghy to go and sit in a prison camp in Essex or Lincolnshire, and then be deported to Rwanda or back home? It won't be worth the journey.
Let me answer that. Okay, the people who make the money out of this are the people smugglers. They're not going to be deterred either way by any of this. People smuggling makes more money than drug smuggling. We know that. Yeah. There's nothing in this legislation about stopping the gangs. If you want to stop drug dealing, you don't lock up the drug users and hope that drug dealers stop. You go and get the drug dealers. There's nothing about that at all.
Well, hold on a minute. We were discussing earlier. I mean, this is something that Vet Cooper for Labour, keeps saying you need to be going after the people traffickers. As you said, there is so much money to be made. You could lock up every single people smuggler who is working today, and tomorrow another few hundred will pop up. There will be people who will turn up to do it.
Julia, you can't even get the ones that have been operating from the same coast for the last 20 years, from Calais, sending them to the Kent coast. You know the routes. We know where they are.
No, I know, but I'm saying, and we don't arrest them. But even if we did, someone else would pop up tomorrow.
Well, the key is the deterrent would be locking up the people smugglers, surely, and putting them in jail for life. That's more of a deterrent.
Why don't we do that?
We should do. We've got the SAS, we've got elite units, we've got MI5, we've got the intelligence. We should be working with a joint operation with France and Europe to stop these gangs. These gangs are about 20 steps two ahead of us. The other thing is, which this government won't explain, is why Labour in 2008 and 2009, despite the Human Rights Act being enforced in 2002, despite there being lawyers around for 50, 60 years, were sending back 60,000 people a year, and why that has dwindled to enforced removals of last year to between 2,000 to 3,000. Even in 2015, before Brexit, we only enforcedly removed 5,000 people. Now that has gone down since Labour times. Actually, we sit here, and a lot of this party, Conservative Party, says that Labour were soft on immigration. The figures tell a different story. Labour was sending back a lot more people than the Conservatives.
So what happened? What happened in the interim? Because again, we're constantly told, well, look, we haven't got these deals to send people back with EU countries, and that's a fault of Brexit. But as you say, but even before then, we were barely sending anyone back anyway. So that's just a load of nonsense. Was it the the human rights lawyer industry that popped up? Did people get a bit wiser about what they claimed? Was there just lack of will in sending people back? What was going on?
Lack of will, and what do we talk about pretty much every week? Broken system, no infrastructure. When you don't have an infrastructure, when every year the MPs investigating the Home Office, producing a 100-odd page report, say that this is not fit for the purpose that you're using it for. Your machinery is not good enough to make the product that you want it to make. Go and get new machinery or invest.
What does that mean? We know, look, as long back as John Reid, when he became Home Secretary, that over the latest failures of the Home Office, and that was immigration related, was that this was a Home Office not fit for purpose. There's simply no evidence in all we've heard from the Home Office and all it's done in all the years subsequent to that it's been improved at all. We know the battles that every Home Secretary tries to actually get anything done seems to face with those civil servants there. We know the backlog of over 100,000 asylum seekers on the backlog for more than a year. Everyone's working from home, not getting the job done. I mean, just abject failings on all fronts, whether it's policing, whether it's immigration, channel migrants, whatever it is. What is the solution? Do we need to just go, right, everybody out, we start again from fresh? We get a private company doing it? I'm not sure I trust them anymore to make the right decisions. What do we do? How do we resolve this? We're a first world country. We're a rich country. I think we should be able to control who comes into our country, who stays in our country, and process applications, within a year. Call me old-fashioned. I think this should be a kind of bare basics that we should be able to achieve.
An asylum claim takes half a day to decide by a skilled person. The government have failed to explain why it takes 2 years to decide over 100,000.
It's harder to do that work if you're out walking the dog when you're pretending to be at work working from home.
Half a day, you've got plenty of time to walk the dog in a lunch break. So there's no reason why these claims can't be decided. Okay. There's a lack of investment, lack of will, and there's a lack of training. When you get ex-supermarket staff and say to them, you know what, you're going to be deciding human rights claims on complex matters of law, you're bound to mess things up. 50% of all Home Office cases appealed are overturned by judges. Yeah. Therefore, you've got wrong decisions. When they do make a decision 2 years later, it's the wrong
decision. In terms of the legal challenges we'll see ahead, look, this bill will go through Parliament. Lots of support on Tory benches. I mean, Labour can talk a good game on it, but actually their own voters, an awful lot of them are very much in favour of these measures. It'll have a tougher ride in the House of Lords, but it will go through. At the end of the day, there will be legal challenges. We know that. We've still got the legal challenge over the Rwanda planes. So how soon, realistically, even if this could get through the law courts and all the challenges, how soon could the first deportations actually happen? Well, the government are saying that it's valid from today. So by tomorrow, we'll find out if it's working or not. No, it has to be made. They'll backdate it to today. Don't be silly. This whole thing about admissibility, it's not a new thing. It was actually passed in 2021. Do you know in 2 years how many people got sent back under the inadmissibility? Let me tell you, 21. That's about 10 a year. So according to what's already in place, it's not going to work. This is a dream being sold to the public by the political party. But hold on a minute. Before an election, we're going to stop everyone. We're going to fix it. We're going to send people back. You know, and I know, we've been listening to that same dream being sold to us for the past 6 years. But it shouldn't be a dream. That's the whole point. If you cannot do this because of human rights legislation, I mean, look, you can sort out with the best will what's going on with management and workers in the Home Office and the systems there. And if you can't, then frankly, you shouldn't be in government. But if the international law would not allow us to do in terms of what we want to do, an elected government in this country, a democratic elected government wants to do, then international law is wrong, isn't it?
Well, the fact is, despite international law, we were doing it in 2008, 2009. 50,000 people coming here is not a problem if you're sending 60,000 back.
Yeah.
The problem comes when 50,000 people come and you're only sending 2,000 to 3,000 back.
Right.
That has been the fault of this government. You're having an excess, and that's what's creating all the pressures. Now, if we were sending back 60,000 people a year, we wouldn't be having this conversation on a weekly or a monthly basis. We'll be saying 50 come in, we sent 60 back. That's how it was working. That's why it wasn't a big issue in 2008 and 2009. That is the problem. We negotiated a treaty without an idea of having agreements. At least we needed 200 agreements in place. We've got 6.